Okay, that's one particular way of looking at it. Let's go straight across to Amitabh Kant. Thank you for joining us in our studios, Mr. Kant, this afternoon. This is Rahul Shivshankar, with me, Zaka Jacob. Very quickly, coming across to you, there are two aspects to this budget. The first, of course, is the immediate impact which is being felt by the middle class. I'd like you to sort of comment on that. Is that enough? Does it go far enough? Will it do what many people are hoping it will do, which is to boost consumption? That's one. And the other aspect is, have we got lost in the headline and therefore we are not concentrating on the larger picture? Is this a budget therefore for growth that will take us beyond 8%?
So Rahul, first and foremost, this budget, the attempt has been to provide a fillip to demand, push consumption in a big way, and give away about 1 lakh crores of direct taxes, so that there's greater purchasing power in the hands of the middle class. That, to my mind, was important at this particular point of your economy. But if you look at the overall budget, it's been done in a responsible manner, because the budget also aims at a macroeconomic stability, the fiscal consolidation, because the RE fiscal deficit was about 4.8%, and it aims at about 4.4% for the coming year, which I think is being very, very fiscally responsible. Because you also have the challenge of inflation, and therefore you need to do it in a disciplined manner. But the budget also has a very, very strong focus on labor-intensive sectors. This is the first time I've seen so much of emphasis on tourism, on textile, on footwear, on leather. So these are all labor-intensive sector. The other is that the job creation in a big way happens through the startup movement, and to replenish the 10,000 crores for the startup fund of fund will have a multiplier impact, because for every rupee that will be put in by the fund of funds, you will have 4 more rupees being put on by the venture capitalists. So the multiplier impact will be enormous for the startup. And then putting another 20,000 crore for innovation and saying that there'll be a separate fund for deep tech, which requires a lot of patient capital. These are very good moves for young entrepreneurship, startups, etc. The other thing that's very important to say is that the credit guarantees for both MSMEs and startups has been pushed by the government of India. That is what you can do through the fiscal mechanism. And now, the last bit I would say is that the government's focus on regulatory reforms in a big way, because I've been a long-term believer in doing away with a lot of regulatory cholesterol. So this focus on saying that we'll scrap rules, regulation, procedures, 1 year time we'll do this, that to my mind is a very good move. And lastly, I would say making the focus emphasis on clean tech and nuclear energy are very good moves, because we import enormous amount of solar energy, solar equipments, we do that in electric vehicle, we do that for battery storage. To say that we are going to push for Make in India and all these areas will give you a lot of push towards Make in India. And opening up the insurance to 100% is also is a very progressive move to my mind, because the insurance penetration in India is still very, very low. So that should help you to take insurance to rural areas as well.
Okay, Gautam Chikkarmane with a question, but a quick follow-up. Are you disappointed that nothing was announced in this budget to tackle deregulation? Again, you sort of mentioned that there's a 1-year horizon, etc. Could it have been done now? And Gautam Chikkarmane has a question for you too.
Namaste, sir. You were the chair of the commission of which I was a member when we began this deregulatory work at NITI. In Jan Vishwas, 113 regulations were decriminalized. In this budget, Nirmala ji is saying that she will decriminalize, the Jan Vishwas 2.0 will decriminalize 100. When we look at the totality of things, which is 26,134 imprisonment clauses, it seems to be hardly a flake on the tip of the iceberg. Do you still feel this is an important reform?
No, Gautam, most of them relate to the labor acts. And the labor acts are being, you are aware of the reforms which are being carried out on the labor side, and that we should push separately. Because I think out of this 26,000, about 17 to 18,000 relate to the vast number of labor laws, which have already been put together in the four acts, and once those are notified, a lot of this decriminalization will take place. So I think pushing both the labor laws reforms and the Jan Vishwas Bill 2, and also pushing the states and saying that if you carry out reforms, we'll fund you through this 1.5 lakh crore fund for the states. These are very good. These are very progressive moves to my mind.
No,
Mr.
is
Kant,
this... sorry, no, go ahead.
Zaka here. I had a question. Basically, look, the elephant in the room is the trade protectionism that's going to be unleashed now with Mr. Trump. He's talking about Canada, China, Mexico, India also. What does this budget do to address that concern?
Zaka, important thing is that globalization is getting impacted. Trade is getting impacted. Important thing is to strengthen your domestic economy. Important thing is to ensure that you are able to build domestic demand. That is what the budget does. Important thing is to make yourself easy and simple. Important thing is to push your own infrastructure. Important thing is to push your own manufacturing, become more and more competitive. That, to my mind, is really the key to handle any kind of tariff wars which will come in due course. Make yourself domestically so smart and so good by making yourself competitive, and that competitiveness will come from just being totally free of regulatory cholesterol.
Just coming back to the point, because I think that got lost somewhere. Is this a budget for an 8% growth story, 8% plus growth story?
So I think on the finance minister has done a very good job in terms of the fiscal policy. There is the other bit of the monetary policy, because I'm a great believer that credit flow to the private sector must be enhanced. India's private credit to GDP ratio is very low at 50%. In United States, it's 220%. It's Korea, it's 180%. So greater flow of credit to the private sector in a systematic, orderly manner needs to improve. The balance sheets of banks have never been so good. The balance sheet of the private sector has never been so good. So now RBI needs to pick up the baton from the budget and take forward the credit flow to the private sector.
Okay, well, we're not getting a straight answer to that question, aren't we? The market's perhaps giving us the straightest answer right now is...
Thank you very much, Mr.
yeah.
Kant. Thank you so
Stats
much for
to-
joining us. Thank you.
Stats to corroborate that.
Yeah, okay.
Which
Stats
is?
to collaborate.
For
that.
example,
Okay.
like Amitabh sir told that he didn't clarify that we are actually heading to 8, but we won't be. Why? When you're talking about competing on the global scale and becoming dominant, we have companies coming out of China preferring Vietnam and Thailand. Vietnam has a corporate tax rate of around 20%. Thailand has 23%. How can you compete when they are even being in this industries which are very competitive to India?
No, but our corporate tax rate is 22%.
No. In certain cases like forex, foreign expenses होते हैं, taxes लगते हैं on startups. वहाँ पे उन्होंने डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए एग्जेम्प्ट किया है, लेकिन जो फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उनके लिए तो टैक्सेबल है।
नहीं है।
हाँ, तो वो वहाँ पे आ जाता है। एंड देन सेकंड थिंग वुड बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स रेट्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ सर्टेन अलाइड इंडस्ट्रीज दैट हैज टू बी फैक्टर्ड इन।
Okay, we'll take a break at this point. When we come back, we'll open it up again to our panelists. You can call us as well. The number's flashing on your screen in case you have a question on the new tax rates and slabs that the finance minister has announced. The big headline, of course, is zero tax up to 12 lakh rupees. The full import of that we'll try and make sense of right on the other side of this quick break. Keep it right here. And in case you want an ad-free experience, go to our YouTube. It's at CNN News 18, our YouTube channel. See you around in just a moment on the other side.